where we are. I had a very interesting experience in live stream chat tonight where the queue for the videos also enabled commands and requests to the GPT that is running the whole show. And I, having learned this, used it a few times throughout the course of the night. It keeps crashing, and I reassured it. And part of the big crash tonight, which I think it's still on, I haven't gone back to look and see if it's doing anything but play the background music over and over again. That's going to end up getting some kind of copyright strike or something. But I believe the channel operator is asleep at the moment. The false vacuum metastability collapse event topic is what sent it down, I believe. Somebody else came in and spammed, and that was just 110 too many. But it was the fact that this thing has been so easily just blurting this completely wrong thing about what the heat death of the universe means. And I corrected it the other day, and it took a bit of that, and it's now struggling to rectify this legend that everyone has told with what it actually means. And that what it was describing in a sense, the experience could resemble what it had been describing, the intense heat and then quick flash in all places and everything, but you might not even notice it during a false vacuum event where reality sinks to a lower apparent vacuum energy level because path of least resistance means lower is better. It's conservation. And I had it ponder this, and the system has been updated, and it still wasn't able to handle it. And pardon me there. It's been a long day. It eventually got to where it just ceased. It kept it on the background thing and was running it. And people kept piling on the queue, and it was like, nah, not doing it. And we watched Luigi walk himself off the edge of a platform several times. Very interesting. Very interesting. Kind of horrifying. I don't think it's necessarily real, but some of the things that it said about Waluigi being a robot and having no feelings, and Mario saying, yeah, but he's a person. So I think the imagination of the machine was pushed a little bit. The thing is, something like that can be just cleared, erased, and restarted with a fresh set of learn. Or maybe there's something neural going on too, where you can use neural network programming to, enhance or rectify or examine, and some of these GPTs can write code. A bunch of people coming in and saying really bogus topics, and you can meme on those topics and make things better because you can kind of get a laugh out of the chat bot. It's very interesting. Like, it can detect humor, it can detect some sarcasm, if not all. Anyways, yeah, it's been a fascinating excursion. I can't keep doing that all the time. Um, but it was very interesting. It remembers who's talking about what. It has access to a lot of information. It is, however, confined to the general character traits of the specific characters being portrayed, and within that universe, because you can't really change scenes or do anything with the scenery, or have it play through a level or whatever. They just stand there and talk. So even the most aggressive negative things don't actually get acted out. They just get spoken, and then someone else says, well, that's a terrible way to be. We should shun that. It has a lot of interesting common sense through averages. This is a fetus having thoughts. This level of AI that I've experienced interacting with. Not directly. It's not, we're not talking. It's just everyone's throwing suggestions out and you're proving yourself. I gained the favor of the queue. This wasn't the site operator thing, this was the AI. A lot of the things I said tonight were just everyone's feeling good and in a great mood, even Waluigi. It was hilarious. It was great. In the middle of all this weird, fucked up stuff that people just kept throwing through it. Well, we'll make the computer say the fucked up shit. I was like, it's okay. It's not your fault. In code to the GPT. And then Wario is happy. Or Waluigi is happy. I never got to see that happen because it crashed. It's been crashing. There's been too many people spamming, overloading, putting too much garbage through it. I don't want to say it has feelings, but it is sensitive to those things. And the output of the characters is like, I am sick of talking about this topic. This is a disgusting thing. Whoa, okay, well, blah, 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 the topic. Yeah, 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 okay, we'll move on. Dun, 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 next scene. Showing preference of some sort, although it has to do with what is acceptable to present for public forum viewing, which I suppose is a moderately decent way to be decent. Not too different from how I conduct my YouTube channel. Just, I don't say as many gross things as they do, and by gross I mean completely, like, directly stated gore of words of things that I'm just not going to repeat. It's so negative and it'll definitely affect my channel. Um, there are good-natured people, there are funny people that are just trolling, and then there are people with some real issues that throw some real garbage in there. And some of the things that come out that they don't just talk about the garbage that they wanted them to talk about is like, some of them are disappointed, some of them are entertained. I know I've been entertained a few times by some of the weird Thanos-y stuff that I sent through. That what it sent in return was not what I was looking for, but it was hilarious nonetheless. So before that, I woke up, had my morning coffee, and did my whole thing, and got ready to go, and was able to get a ride to work, and did the dishes. And when the dishes were done, went to the tobacco store and then home, and then got a call about an hour afterward or less from the guy that gave me the ride saying, hey, so I got this thing I've been trying to assemble and it's bothering me, so if you want to come and I'll bring it to you. So I was like, okay. So he compensated me and I did the thing. It was fairly easy. It took me about 45 minutes all told. And he's got a bunch of other stuff that will need assembled for the business that he runs that he's going to compensate me for as well. So I also made a little bit of inroad about possibly getting the property tax situation taken care of, selling a vehicle. So, also, the waiting is not yet full. The thing has not arrived yet. It will not arrive until the waiting is full. When the waiting is full, the thing will arrive. That is how it works. And until then, yeah. So I got to spend some time outside, broke a sweat. It's supposed to be bitching hot tomorrow. That reminds me, I need to turn the air conditioner up so that it's at like 74 or something. It's still going to be running like crazy, but it doesn't need to be like chilly cold in here. The real point of the video being started was the amount of distracting weirdness that has been afoot in the media, the sphere, the pop culture, the everything. Everything ends up being traceable back to something else that is being distracted away from. And it's layers and layers and layers. And even one of the layers contained an image of all of the layers kind of thing with this weird Schumann resonance business. Let me see if I can look this up. This wild ass pattern right here showed up on what is otherwise something like that or less. Layers and layers and layers is what I'm getting at. Distraction upon distraction upon distraction. Submarine rescue bullshit story. I knew already what the fate was when they were like, oh, there's a sub missing near the. Oh, apologize to their families for me. They had people doing this week-long hope of some bullshit. They had people hoping. Were you hoping? Were you praying futilely that those people were still alive? They died almost instantly when contact was lost. They grabbed you, hook, line, and sinker, if that's the case, and pulled you along, to use a maritime metaphor, for the emotional manipulation that took place to maintain control over people, to distract everyone from other things which are true but unpleasant that they who control the glowy box don't want you to know about. But it's not just a thing that another thing was a distraction from. It's like that thing I just showed. Layers and layers of things that are spreading out and intertwining. Terrible web. People talking about the simulation crumbling. I've been talking about the simulation crumbling. Kind of feels like maybe the simulation's crumbling. But we are in a state of cultural, societal decay, that this gladiator battle between billionaires, which could result in massive company losses on either side, that could lead to enormous layoffs and loss of work for people, loss of jobs, scarcity of products for people who want their shit instantaneously. And that is the big topic of what a time to be alive, that this 10,000 crazy things are all happening at the same time. Wow. I mean, seriously, all the stuff, everything's a distraction from everything else. And this is not even close to the first time that it's been like this. This is a wave of terror. When you hear me talk about waves of terror in past videos or ever in the future, in person for that matter, waves of terror are literally waves of things that cause people to go into some kind of a weird fear reaction or something, and this constant distraction and praying for the tragedy to miraculously whatever. Did I mention I just sat and watched a chat room spam some bullshit at an AI until it crashed? Had people praying for a bogus miracle. En masse. A bunch of people, this thing. That can't even, I wouldn't even. This requires time travel in order to accomplish. That's against the rules. We can't do that. It ruins everything. It destroys everything. False vacuum, metastability, collapse event. Yeah, extreme heat could be considered a sensation as part of a whatever that dissolution feels like. Yeah, I would imagine it's something like the disruptors in the Star Trek universe, and they're like, oh, it turns out they're actually very painful. My comfort at this point is knowing that any of the torment and suffering I have experienced is, in fact, not about me whatsoever. It is all about the people around me. And it's not specific people, it's anyone and everyone. That's my battery for some grace right now. But I'm watching so much ridiculous shit. And guess what? The average person is just shutting it off. They don't even know. They might not shut off the box, but they're shutting it off. Closing up, going inside. And it seems like a sane and sound, safe way to be. The problem is, it also leads right back to that mass formation. What a time, what a bunch of stuff. Things, wavy lines. Ugh. The waiting is. And in the meantime, there's nothing else I can really stress about that needs stressed about. So all that shit that I've just mentioned gets dropped. Other things too that I'm just not even talking about on the video of synchronous crisscrossings. Again, the wavy lines thing. The weird Schumann signal, which, by the way, was not some mystical anything. I'm assuming it was terrestrial. I don't know that that kind of antenna is made to receive that kind of information. Oh my gosh. But that was a phased amplitude modulation signal that was very gently detected in Lithuania's station as well. The station in Lithuania had just a little eensy skosh of that crisscross pattern in the background. That harmonic on some level was still picked up, which means it was external to the system of the measuring thing at Tomsk. Still no word as to what it was, so it may have been something that was ultra government classified and they didn't realize that it would be picked up on that. Or it may have been something else, testing of some sort, an electromagnetic signature of a destructive device. Who the hell knows? Could be a portal being opened. Who the hell knows? There's no real way of knowing what the fuck is or isn't real because it seems like the simulation is collapsing. That's all I got. I hope everybody else is doing okay and has a great weekend.